Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's session of the Pan-African Digital Assembly. My name is Frida Yawson. I'm with I4Policy, and today it is my pleasure to speak here with Mr. Jason Pau of the Jack Ma Foundation. He's a senior advisor for international programs, and he's just going to tell us a little bit about their work on the continent, especially supporting entrepreneurs as well as supporting government. So welcome so much. Welcome, Jason. Thank you so much for joining us today. I was just wondering if you could just give us a few words today and just introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and the Jack Ma Foundation.
Hey, Frida, thanks for having me, and really a warm welcome and hello to everybody watching. Of course, I guess we all wish we could be together in person, but we're leveraging technology the best that we can today to remain connected. Really, thanks for having me on. It's really an honor and a privilege to talk about and engage on this topic, the topic of entrepreneurs. Myself, I kind of think of myself as a dreamer and a believer. I've spent the last 15 years or so working in government and private business. I've started my own consulting companies, but one thing for me has always been really consistent, and that is I believe in global cooperation. I think that when countries cooperate, there are drastically positive outcomes that humanity can see and realize. And having lived through several crises over the years, I worked in the government during the financial crisis of '08. I know what crisis can do to countries and to people, and it can be quite extreme. And so I've devoted my early career to trying to work with leaders and partners and people on the ground to create partnerships that help. And so we're faced with a unprecedented crisis today, and I think there's a lot of work to do. So anyway, myself at the Jack Ma Foundation, the foundation started by Jack Ma, legendary entrepreneur, founder of Alibaba Group. He started it in December of 2014, so it's actually quite a young foundation, and so we're just kind of getting started, and we're learning. We really are learning. We're learning as much as we can. Most of our programs are in China, but we've recently started to engage in more global partnerships and programs. So I currently help to lead the Jack Ma Foundation's international programs and initiatives. Now, the foundation is focused on 4 areas. One is education. Second is entrepreneurship. Third is women's leadership. And lastly, it's actually a combination of environmental and also health. And so those are the 4 big areas that our foundation is focused on. And thanks for the opportunity to speak about entrepreneurs. It's in our blood. Our founder, Jack, he is a consummate entrepreneur. And I think what we've been trying to do at the foundation is to share some of the knowledge, share some of the lessons, share some of the mistakes that we might have made through our entrepreneurial journey, and extend some support to those that we see that need it and have the ability to take advantage of it. So really excited about Africa. The continent is vibrant, it's powerful, it's colorful, it's rich, it's everything that we think will drive its youth, frankly, to be a huge driver of the economy for the continent and for the world going forward.
Absolutely.
It's such an interesting time, and with crisis, I think you get leadership. Crisis brings out um, really the people that have the will, the determination, and really the drive not to let things just happen to them. And we've been seeing that across the continent. Um, Over the last 2 months now, at the foundation, we've also led a massive campaign to donate PPE, test kits to the continent. Because we know that entrepreneurs, if you don't have physical health, there's no economic generation. You have to be healthy first. So really the foundation has been focused on one hand, doing our best to help people secure their physical well-being, but at the same time, continue to push, continue to support, and double down on the economic side as well. And so that is really our entrepreneur program.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for telling us a little bit about that. I will come to the PPEs and the medical side of things in a little bit. But as you probably know, I4Policy is also a network of creators, innovators, makers who across, I believe, 48 or so different African countries who are also focused on co-creating solutions. And so one of the things that piqued our interest, especially in the 4 areas that you already discussed, was the African Netpreneur Prize, which was started in 2018. And so, one of the things on our minds is as we enter this crisis, this pandemic, obviously there are a lot of challenges facing entrepreneurs. They have to try to innovate, they have to try to think outside of the box just to survive. We just did a report that said 74% of them are losing revenue, right? So I wanted to dive in a little bit to your Netpreneur, not just the prize but the initiative as a whole. If you could tell us a little bit about the types of support that you are offering entrepreneurs, as well as any insights maybe that you're getting from your entrepreneurs who are already in your program as to the types of challenges they're facing, and how you think perhaps even in your initiative or outside of your initiative we can kind of be working together to support entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Thank you. The African Netpreneur Prize really, I think, for many of us has been a surprise in terms of how much interest we've garnered, and I think that really speaks to the strength of the African entrepreneur. I have traveled to Africa for only a few years now, maybe a dozen countries or so, but every country that I visited so far in Africa, it's clear. I mean, Africans are entrepreneurs. Many of them have several jobs. Many of them are innovative, creative. So really the term entrepreneur for me, for Africa, it's almost like a given. It's almost like we shouldn't be saying entrepreneurs anymore. But really, what we're trying to do with our program is to enhance that, to bring out that community. And I think what better way to support it also is to emphasize the importance of the digital economy. The program is not only focused, I mean, it's called Netpreneurs, but we're not only focused on, say, the very digital savvy or digital or internet focused companies. We actually believe that in the future, in the very near future, if you're not engaging on the internet in some fashion, you're not doing business the right way. So that for us is we think that's just the standard operating procedure going forward. So we've opened our program to all entrepreneurs in Africa. It really doesn't matter what industry you're in. You can be in agriculture, health, you can be doing whatever it is. What we're looking for are entrepreneurs at their core. And so this program is a bit different. I think it's a one of a kind because it does a few things at the same time. One is we are providing financial grants. And this year, we've upped the money to $1.5 million. And so in a time of crisis, we're responding. I know a lot of others might be cutting down on how much they're providing their programs in terms of support. We're increasing it. Last year was $1 million, this year is 1.5. Second thing that we're doing is we have a life-changing, I think, opportunity to be in front of some of the most world-renowned entrepreneurs to hear their advice directly. Last year in Ghana, we had Jack, we had Strive, Masayua, we had Ibukun Abashika. I don't know a better place for entrepreneurs to learn than to get that direct feedback from some of these legendary entrepreneurs. Third, we are providing entrepreneurs with maximum visibility and maximum profile. And so we've also developed this into a TV show. We want heroes to be identified, business heroes to inspire. And so that's the third thing that we're doing. And lastly, and really importantly, is we are opening up our network of not only information, but also investors, partners, potential manufacturers, etc., to this set of entrepreneurs. And we're doing that because we know money isn't everything. It's the lessons you learn. It's the connections that you can make. It's expanding your business outside of just your hometown that I think African entrepreneurs will get the best of their potential. So this year, applications are open, and I encourage entrepreneurs watching to look to apply. We've got a few weeks left until applications close. Don't miss the boat. So www.africabusinessheroes.org. And again, $1.5 million in prize money for this year. We are not slowing down. I think, yes, with crisis, there's a lot of challenges, but what we're seeing today is that those that are embracing the digital economy, those that are leveraging the internet, those that are figuring out how to get things done remotely are winning. And there's examples all around the world. If you look at the US, you see different platforms, including the one that we're using right now, increase subscriber bases. Alibaba as a company during SARS, severely impacted. We were forced to shut down as a company. And at that time, Alibaba was only a few years old. So it was a startup. But what most people don't realize is that during this time, during the SARS epidemic, when Alibaba was allowed to go back to the office, that's when we launched Taobao, which has then become the world's largest e-commerce platform. And so, to the entrepreneurs that are watching, take the lessons around you. There is so much ample time now really to think through clearly what your value proposition is. And I do think that the world is changing, but what hasn't changed is the digital economy has always been important, and now it's even more important. So if you don't have a digital strategy, you really should be thinking about it.
Yes, absolutely. Those are so crucial right now. I think that that's great advice for many of our entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs, if you are watching, don't forget to go to their website and make sure that you apply for the Netpreneur Prize, because there's an opportunity for you to take advantage of so many, both investments, advice, visibility, as Jason mentioned. So please do that. Okay, so that's one thing. Lessons for them, the entrepreneurs themselves, the SMEs. But as you mentioned at the beginning, that there's quite a bit of opportunity for partnerships on a larger scale. So I wanted to just talk a little bit also about your current work with African governments. As you mentioned, I already know, the foundation has donated quite a lot of PPEs and equipment to African governments, which has been wonderful. Thank you. I'm also aware that there is, a program, I believe it's the Global Medi Exchange for COVID-19, where Chinese researchers and African researchers are coming together to kind of discuss solutions, what's working, what's not. Could you expand a little bit on that program and tell us a little bit about and perhaps other opportunities that there are for African governments and the Chinese government, or African researchers and Chinese researchers, to continue to partner in our response towards COVID?
Yeah, thanks. Solidarity is a key word here, right? And solidarity, I think, to many of us mean that we should act, we should think as one, because no matter how you cut it, the global community is connected, and this virus has shown that in immense proportions. We've seen some countries close borders. We've seen some countries start to restrict trade. I think that's the wrong direction. I think the direction that we need to take going forward is to cooperate even more, because crisis that we're going through right now, it's clear this is not something that can be confined to one country. And so from the foundation's perspective, from our perspective, and under Jack's leadership, we've stepped forward in a big way. I couldn't tell you 4 months ago that I would have been leading a program to donate to 150 countries, which we've done. And it's been quite amazing. But what's different, I think, and what's so exhilarating for us is, we're from business, we're business background. And we applied the same amount of, I would say, hardcore work ethic, creativeness, innovativeness, and sense of urgency in our work during COVID. We have found an amazing partnership in Africa. We've completed 3 rounds of donations now to the continent. And before this, if someone had told me that you could deliver millions, tens of millions of PPE and test kits to about 50 countries in 7 days, I would say you're out of your mind.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's intense.
And we did that. And the way that we did that, it's not from us. Our partners in Africa, Africa CDC, Ethiopian Airlines, the Ethiopian government, the WHO, the World Food Program, all worked together to clear out all the challenges that we all know exist in trade in Africa, whether it's logistics or payments or customs or air flights.
Mm-hmm.
So that model, to me, is really inspiring, because that is a model built by Africans for Africa. And if that can work in emergency situations like we've had in the crisis, it can work when things get better. It can work towards, what's the progress on a continental free trade agreement, and how will the continent trade with one another going forward? An excellent example. We should look into it more. We should talk about it more. We should have entrepreneurs that really build upon it. And so, Africa coming out of this crisis is trading more with one another, is more united. In terms of the GMCC Live, so this is something that we also launched to support exchange of knowledge, because if you give someone a ventilator, or if you give them a test kit, they may not know how to use it. And that's the worst thing that you could do, is waste it. And so we've gathered some of the leading Chinese hospitals and connected them with African hospitals. So far, we're on track to have 10 sessions, including one with the CDC, Africa CDC, where I'm sitting on these calls, and they are sharing very, very practical knowledge things like, how do you set up the hospital to treat COVID-19? How do you separate the wards? What do you do with waste? How do you dispose of it? Which tests do you use? Ventilators, which ventilators are the best? Under what conditions to use them? So what we're hoping to do is to minimize the mistakes that maybe Chinese hospitals have already gone through, and provide African hospitals with a leg up. And so far we've had amazing response to it. So I think, just to sum it up, it's great to be able to provide equipment. But without the knowledge and the expertise, you're not really getting the full picture. So we're trying to do the best that we can to connect this all digitally. And I think that's really the power here. And I think that's the power that African entrepreneurs should really be thinking about. Through our program, last year, our top 10, 4 of them have really stepped up and started doing things, leveraging platforms to support COVID-19. Our top winner, Temi Life Bank in Nigeria, she's been working to gather all the data of where's the equipment, where are the supplies, so that when hospitals need it, they know where to go. That's just one of the examples. And so while I think that's really important for a COVID-19 situation, you better believe that that's also going to be important when things settle down a bit. So I see there's just a lot of opportunities.
That's great. That's great. And I hope that many more countries will also be able to come on board and join this partnership. Do you know off the top of your head which countries are involved? I think I remember Ghana, Rwanda, a few others involved in the partnership.
In terms of the exchange between the hospitals, or
the exchange between the hospitals.
Yeah, no, we're working closely with Africa CDC. Okay. We've worked with the Ethiopian government, Zimbabwe, soon Kenya, Ghana, Rwanda. So yeah, quite a bit. Okay. Egypt as well. So we're open and eager to help provide as much expertise and lessons learned that we can. And the main point also is every African country is in its own different stage, an own very specific situation. So there is definitely no one size fits all. Different levels of capacity, different access to equipment. So each country has to, customize it, and their solution will be different from others. And China's, what people have done in China is only an example for China. And so that's one of the things that we also stressed is take as many pieces from the international community and build it into what fits best for you. That's exactly the same thing that we encourage our entrepreneurs to do as well. Take really close look at what's going on in the US, China, Southeast Asia, Israel, all over the place. But know that you have to make it your own. It's not going to work if you just plug and play. And that's exciting to me, because over the course of the last 2 years, I have seen entrepreneurs in Africa start to look more globally at problems, and also to start looking around their corner, working with neighbors in neighboring countries and regional countries a bit more. So these partnerships, invaluable. I think if we can help support more international cooperation, that's great for us, because I think that's where the world needs to go more in the direction of, instead of the opposite way.
Great, thank you so very much. I think we are almost fully in agreement with you, especially in I4Policy. One of our thoughts is that many of these solutions need to be co-created, to be done together, and that's very much in line with building partnerships, strategic partnerships across the globe. So I guess I would say, if you were to leave us with any parting words in terms of where you see the foundation going with any of your programs, whether it's the Netpreneur Prize or other programs in working to build these partnerships, what do you think we should be looking forward to? And what are perhaps maybe any areas that you believe both entrepreneurs and policymakers need to perhaps strengthen to help us build better partnerships as we look forward to post-COVID?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. On terms of the prize, the African Entrepreneur Prize, it's a 10-year program. So we're in this for the long term. And yes, I think the money is important. Entrepreneurs, especially now, could use a little bit of support. But ultimately, what we're trying to hopefully support is a movement around entrepreneurship. And what we hope is that in 10 years from now, we would have looked back and saw that the amount of jobs that entrepreneurs were able to create in Africa, the amount of economic output, the amount of innovations, and that would be a success. And the thing is, for us at the Jack Ma Foundation, we're not looking to do it ourselves. In fact, we're the opposite. Our goal is to create a platform initiative where everyone can participate. And that's what we would love. We would love for more to be involved. And so that ultimately this is owned and driven by our African partners on the ground, which we have many. Each year we're adding new layers to it. We're adding French this year. So we're recognizing the differences across different countries in Africa. We hope to do more in the future. So we want to be inclusive. We currently have, in this year, 51 countries have registered, and that's great. Yeah. We're shooting for Pan-Africa. I mean, we're not.
Yeah, that's basically it.
We're almost there. And so that's one of our goals too. We want this to be Pan-African. We want more women, entrepreneurs to be in the spotlight. Absolutely. So we're going to continue to push on these things. These are some of our major goals over the longer term. In terms of policy really matters. Leadership matters so much. And if we talk about entrepreneurship without addressing the entrepreneur ecosystem and all the stakeholders that are in it, we're not doing a good job. So I do think that not only policymakers and leaders, but the investor community, the business community, the skills base, contract and vendor community, the legal community, the accounting community. Yeah, there are a lot of different pieces to this puzzle that should be put together. And what we need to do more is we need to shine the light on the problems. We really do. I think there needs to be more of that. I think there needs to be more creative policies for entrepreneurs. How do we address visas? How do we address payments? How are we addressing, are there tax breaks for entrepreneurs that are creating jobs? How are we addressing internet access? In some countries, high-speed internet is hugely cost prohibitive. How are we addressing the informal sector? So there are a lot of things here that I think together as a community that they should be addressed. But one thing's for sure, I don't think entrepreneurs should wait. If you wait for policies to get in place, it's too late. Push, start testing, and work with the global community. There are so much partnerships that you can strike. For example, in China, and I'm starting to see more of that. Entrepreneurs, African and Chinese entrepreneurs working together. So don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. There are solutions out there, and in a post-COVID world, leverage technology. I'm seeing even more interactions around the world because everyone's not focused on home. So take advantage of it. So yeah, that's I guess that's what I would say. I think.
Those are great parting words. Thank you so very, very much. And I think, this is what all these conversations about. Like, how do we get this entire ecosystem to rally around entrepreneurs, to work together, whether it be startup acts or other policy interventions and partnerships. So we are definitely looking forward to hopefully supporting your efforts with the Jack Ma Foundation, with your entrepreneurs, and future any other programs that are coming up our way. We're really excited. We will be following you and making sure to share any information that you have for our entrepreneurs within our networks. So just wanted to say a really big thank you again, Jason, for joining us. And hopefully we will be hearing more from you in the near future.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And again, to all the entrepreneurs watching, www.africabusinessheroes.org. Apply while it's still open. Don't miss this opportunity. But thank you again, Frida. Appreciate it.
Thank you.